Floyd Collins. In January 1925, there was an American man named Floyd Collins. He was about 37 years old. Floyd wasn't just any guy. He was kinda short, slim, and that actually helped him squeeze into tight cave passages most people wouldn't even dare to look at. He had this crazy obsession with caves. People in his town used to say he spends half his life above ground and the other half underneath it. Since he was a kid, he loved the darkness under the rocks more than the sunlight. Any crack in a hill, any narrow hole in the ground, Floyd saw it as a door to a whole new world. Where others saw danger, he saw opportunity. His biggest dream, to discover a brand new cave and turn it into a tourist attraction. A place that could bring in visitors, money, and maybe even write his name in history. One day, while exploring the woods near his home, he heard about a small opening in a hill called Sand Cave. Locals said the place was dangerous, tight, muddy, impossible to fully explore. But to Floyd, that was exactly the kind of challenge he wanted. So, with his usual courage, he grabbed a simple oil lamp, packed a little food and water, and went in. Into Sand Cave. The place was pitch black, suffocatingly narrow. You had to literally crawl on your belly to move forward. His lamp flickered on the damp cave walls as he dragged himself deeper inside. Then he found a passageway, even tighter than anything he'd ever seen before. And instead of backing off, Floyd smiled. He pushed forward. His shoulders scraped the rock on one side. His ribs pressed on the other. The ground was slimy with mud, but he kept going. And then, disaster struck. A rock from above shifted and pinned his leg. At first, it was just a small boulder, but in that cramped, narrow tunnel, it was enough. Floyd tried pulling himself free, pushing with all his strength, but nothing worked. He was stuck. Worse, his lamp oil was running out. The light was dimming, and the darkness was closing in. Trapped in darkness. Hours passed. Floyd lay trapped, one leg pinned under the rock. His body jammed in a passage barely big enough to hold him, but the cave wasn't done tormenting him. From the ceiling, icy water dripped, drop by drop, straight onto his face. At first it was just annoying, but soon it felt like torture. His clothes soaked through, the freezing chill biting into his bones. Then came the insects, tiny cave bugs and spiders crawling across his skin, slipping under his shirt. He couldn't move to brush them away. His lamp dimmed to almost nothing. Soon, the only thing he had left was the feel of bugs crawling over him, the drip of water on his face, the cold mud swallowing him, and the crushing silence of the cave. It was like being buried alive. The rescue attempts. After hours with no sign of Floyd, his brother Homer crawled into the cave to look for him. He squeezed through the tunnels until he heard the faint sound of Floyd's moans. That's where he found him, wedged under the rock, helpless. Homer tried to pull him out, but the passage was way too tight. With no choice, he crawled back out and called for help. Pretty soon, friends, neighbors, and rescuers gathered at the cave entrance. Then the authorities came. What started as a small rescue turned into a full-scale operation. The site filled with workers, volunteers, and even reporters who rushed in to cover the story. It became one of the biggest rescue missions America had ever seen. Engineers, geologists, and cavers from all over Kentucky showed up. When normal rescue attempts failed, miners started drilling a shaft straight down into the earth to reach Floyd. The work was brutal. Freezing weather, pouring rain, collapsing rock, and constant arguments over the right way to save him. But still, they kept digging, day and night. For more than a week, hope rose and fell with every attempt. But every time they got close, another cave-in blocked the way. After 17 long days, all hope was fading. On the 18th day, after digging a 55-foot shaft, rescuers finally reached his body. But it was too late. Floyd Collins had died underground, trapped in the darkness, in the very world he loved most. The end. At first, his body was left in Sand Cave, buried under rocks and mud. But months later, his remains were moved to rest near his family home, right beside Crystal Cave, his favorite place. Eventually, He was reburied in the cemetery at Mammoth Cave, where he lies today. The news shocked the entire country. Floyd Collins became a tragic symbol, a man who spent his life chasing caves, only to lose it inside one. That was the end of the story. But for me, Floyd's case feels tragic and fascinating at the same time. His passion was the most beautiful thing about him, yet it's also what took his life. What scares me the most isn't just the way he died, but the idea of being trapped inside your own dream, unable to escape. Maybe this story reminds us that passion can open doors, but sometimes it can also bury us within them.